Do you really know what's going on inside of your body every month? Do you suffer from any pain during menstruation? And are you looking forward to your period in that time of the month? No? I thought so. You need the period talk. Let's go. I'm Laura Blue and I'm really happy that you're here and super excited to share this knowledge with you. But before we start the period talk, I want to share with you why this is different from all the other period podcasts, videos and content. I have a very special recipe with a secret ingredient. So I like to combine science, who doesn't love a few numbers and statistics, with tradition. And I don't mean the divine feminine goddess spirituality. No, I mean knowledge, ancient knowledge that is thousands of years old and comes directly from the indigenous tribes. The real stuff, guys, girls. Now you probably ask yourself, where does this white German girl knows this from? Valid question. Well, I've been living in Colombia for many years now, and my life partner is an indigenous doctor, and he opened to me the doors to get to know a lot of indigenous tribes, medicine women, medicine men, that shared with me that knowledge, and it helped me so incredibly much, so that I think it's now time to share it with you guys. I'm so excited. I'm here with my cacao. I suggest you get yourself a hot beverage. Get cozy and enjoy this period talk. To kick off this really cool series, I want to start talking about why it is so important to have a conversation about menstruation. I mean, it has been a taboo topic for centuries now. And I don't know if I've been living in a bubble, but recently I saw it popping up a little bit more on social media especially, and that's great. But when we look a few centuries back, the menstruating woman was seen as unhealthy, contagious. She was shamed. I mean, the menstruation blood was poisonous. And I mean, during the 1900s, it was basically, don't talk about it. Don't talk about periods. It's not happening. And fun fact, the word period was first said 1985 on American TV. First time, that's not long ago actually. And let's be real here, most of us did not receive the proper education around this topic. I mean, I did not. So I want to share with you 7 problems or challenges that we're facing nowadays in our society. And after that, I'm sure you will want to talk period. The first challenge is actually our first period and education. So I don't know if you remember your first period. I do, and I was super scared. And to be honest, I didn't get a really good explanation of what's happening. It was more like, oh, that's normal. You're a woman now. You can get pregnant. Take care. Deep down, I knew it was a really important moment, but nothing important happened. So it was not seen as something special. And that's, let's be honest, because menarche, I don't know if I say that right. That's the first period. Is not seen as important in our society. Sex education or period education was basically non-existent in our schools. Girls that got their period were looked at as a little bit weird, and you actually were hiding your tampons and pads and not paying attention to your symptoms and pretending it wasn't happening. We got taught to ignore our period. But our parents do not have the fault because they also didn't know, and their parents probably also didn't know. So how can they teach us? And that is what the tradition is missing. The teaching of our elders, that knowledge that comes directly from the earth and that is being, transmitted from generation to generation. We just lost that connection and we kind of floating around the universe like, what's going on? We don't know. The second challenge is actually around feminine hygiene. I don't know if you remember your first tampon. I do. It was wow, because I put it inside and I was not feeling anything. I was like, wow, I don't feel anything. And that's the problem, because we just plug away the fact that we're bleeding. My tampon really helped me to ignore my period, that's true. And that was the goal. And it was really funny when you look at how they sold the period products before. Basically, they sold you secrecy. They were like, if you put that in, it's like you don't have your period. You can go rock climbing and horse riding and you will not feel a thing. No one will notice. And let's be honest, feminine hygiene products are super expensive. If you just think about it, a woman bleeds around 7 years during her lifetime. That means we use between 5 and 15,000 pads and tampons. That's not just bad for the environment, that's actually really bad for our economy. And there are many people in this world that cannot afford those products. And those products are actually not really good for us. I mean, they contain a lot of plastic and even some poisonous stuff that can cause some illnesses. But that is another topic I will talk about in a separate video because it's huge. Nowadays, there are emerging more sustainable feminine hygiene products, and that's a good thing. But it's still something not many people think about. There's so many people that still use the normal tampons and pads. Difficult. The third challenge is hormonal contraception. So when I first went to my gynecologist, like that word, I was super excited because I got the pill. That means I'm super adult now, and it's something everyone gets. It's normal. I mean, my mom got at the age of 16, 17, all the girls got it. It's normal. And when I walked out with that pill, it was like the solution to all my problems because no more acne, better hair, better skin. Awesome. But if your doctor would tell you the whole story, what that pill actually does inside of your body, maybe you would think twice. It's not a problem if you take the pill or not. It's the problem that we just take it without knowing what's actually happening to us and what it can cause inside of us. So we need to be able to take a conscious decision if we want to take medication every day of our life. I mean, it's a pretty convenient thing when there are millions of women buying the pill every single month for 40 years of their lives. I mean, that's pharmacy. Wow, money. The pharmacy industry is happy, our bodies are not. Because what the pill or any hormonal contraception does is it feeds you fake hormones, which basically cause your natural cycle to stop. Your ovulation is not happening anymore, and your menstruation is not real. During that time, you stop taking the hormones. So because the hormones are not there, some bleeding occurs, and it's basically not even necessary. You could just take the pill all the way through, and no bleeding needs to occur because there's nothing that needs to go out because your uterus lining is not even thickening. So it basically disrupts your whole natural cycle and cuts you off from that connection. That's super important. That leads us to challenge 5, getting off the pill and fear of pregnancy. If at one point in your life you realize, oh, that pill is actually not good for my body and you want to stop it, or you want to get pregnant and you stop taking hormonal contraception, what happens to most of us is we do not get our periods back for a long amount of time. I mean, for me, it was probably 1 year that I didn't get my period because, let's be honest, your whole cycle is fucked up. The phenomenon of missing periods is actually called amenorrhea. I say that really Spanish, amenorrhea. And it happens to almost all of us women. Funny enough, when you type getting off the pill into Google, all the information you get is basically you will have so much pain, your acne will come back, your life will become hell again. And of course, the first thing that every doctor will say to you that when you get off the pill, you can become pregnant right away. Wow. And pregnancy, I can talk from my experience, causes a lot of fear in many of us women. I mean, that's the main reason why we take the pill for many, to not get pregnant. We do not want to get pregnant. And that fear of pregnancy is something that I feel is super present in our society. Because we want to work on our business, we don't have the right partner, we just don't want to bring children into this horrible world. I don't know, whatever the reason is. For me, the thought of becoming a mother is horrifying. It's a fear deep inside of us, fear of becoming a mother. And in indigenous tribes, they say all women are mothers. You don't need to have children to be a mother. It's more a feeling of being a woman. A woman is a mother. Not the sexualized kind of stereotype. It's more the caring, warm soul, that we can give birth, not just to children. We have that ability to give birth to projects, to feed, to nourish our surroundings, our home. And it's something super beautiful that we kind of need to change in our mind, I think. Now, the 6th challenge we face regarding menstruation in our society is the disconnection of ourselves. Most of us women, as I said at the beginning, do not have any idea what's going on inside of them. What menstruation actually means and what it is and why we bleed and what we bleed, and we have no idea. We're not educated. And that means that our menstrual cycle is just happening every month without us being conscious of it. And it's basically disconnected from our eating habits, our fitness, creativity, our hobbies. It's totally disconnected, which should not be like that. Because if we know how to use our cycle and that cyclical being that we are and that we change all the time, we can actually be so much better at our hobbies. We can actually be so much better at our crafts. We can be more focused in our work. We can be more creative at times and achieve better fitness goals. It is crazy what you can do when you understand your cycle, trust me. We are also disconnected from our partners. Because if we don't know what's going on inside of us, our partner knows less. Who teaches them? Boys most of the times do not even know what's a menstruation until they have a girlfriend. And when they have a girlfriend, they tend to not talk about it or see it as that, oh, she has a period, don't talk to her, ooh, be careful. If we would start this conversation and talk about it, we could actually help each other, support each other, and use that time to build and strengthen our relationship. And we are disconnected from our environment, because in most of our working environments, the menstruation is not a topic. We don't get a day off or two when we have period cramps or pain. And most of all, our working places do not work according to our cycles. We just have to perform every single day, all the time, like men. And if you pay attention to your cycle, you cannot do that. It's just not possible. There are times for everything. And we need to learn to acknowledge and respect that. The 7th challenge is actually social media. In an age of technology and social media, it is quite normal that people start to share. And there's a lot of information going around, especially about this topic, that just simply is not really helpful. And I can just talk from my experience and from the knowledge and the advice I received from elders and indigenous grandmothers. And they taught me that the period is something really personal and intimate. So it is good to start to have a conversation, to educate yourself about it. But where it gets a little bit delicate and dangerous is when you start posting pictures of your period. There's some people even doing paintings with their period blood. And that is all part of the female empowerment movement. But there are some limits and there are some things that are actually not good for you if you share them. We just need to be really careful with the information we receive, we consume, because not everything is true. How you can find out what's true or not in the age of internet and Google and YouTube. So I always encourage you to have your own experience, to feel what's going on, to feel if it's good for you, and to just be really careful with the information you consume. The last thing I want to talk about is how tradition can actually help us solve these challenges. The base of indigenous tradition all over the world is nature. Our body is basically a microcosmic version of the universe, of the macrocosmos. So what indigenous people think is that we are not separate from nature. We are part of it. So just as the rivers flow in our earth, we have blood in our veins. Just like the mountains, we have bones in our body. Just like the stars, we have neurons in our brain. And I find this a super beautiful kind of worldview. It connects us to something so old. You can just feel that it's real. So if we feel love, the earth does too. If we are angry with our partner and we fight, the earth feels that. Whatever we say and think, it's all energy and it all goes somewhere. And nature is kind of there to help us and collects all that stuff. And that's why our nature is out of balance. Mother Nature, they say mother because it is the mother of us all. We are born here. We are made from this earth. She does not need us to plant new trees. I mean, it's nice to plant new trees, but what you can do more is start to clean yourself inside, is start to connect with yourself, become more conscious, and that will help her so much more. So what I'm trying to say is that the current state of our planet and our society and those challenges is basically a reflection of what is going on inside of us, each and every one of us. So when we start to learn about ourselves, to educate ourselves, to listen to this knowledge that has been there forever, because what they do is just they listen to nature, they watch nature, and that is where they get their knowledge from. It's not from any other source than from the base. When we start to reconnect with that knowledge, we reconnect with ourselves. I can just tell you from my experience that it is incredible. It is so easy and so basic, and when you listen to it, when you hear it, it's like, yes, you know that it's real. For me, spirituality is something much more simple. It is how I live my day to day that shows my real spirituality, my relationships, my relationship with myself and my body and my mind, my relationship with my partner, my friends, my family, my house, and all my environment. That really shows how spiritual you are, not how you talk or how you dress. I really believe in this knowledge, and I'm super happy to be able to share it with you, and I hope it can also help you. I don't know the whole truth, and I am not saying I know everything, or what I'm saying is the truth. It's just another point of view, another input you can take or not take. Just listen to yourself. Inside of you, you will know. Experiment. That's always what I say. Experiment yourself, and if it works, take it. If not, leave it. That was a lot of information. We have some serious challenges to tackle, but education for me is the first step into a better future, and that is what I'm doing here. So this is Quetzal. He wants to say hi. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more videos and more content related to women's health, movement, menstruation and femininity, and of course indigenous knowledge. So we are going to say ciao. Let us know in the comments if you have any specific topic you would like me to talk about. Thank you for joining me today. Mucho amor. Ciao.